Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Mary Kay Lammer. I'm the Executive Director of Ridgefield Main Street. This is our first quarterly evening meeting of 2026. And thank you very much for joining us. Thanks to Nest for the great treats and wonderful food snacks, and Dawn for having us. I saw quite a few board members here. Thank you. There are committee members here, and for all of the rest of you, we have some great speakers and good information. I know this is a busy week, but there's just so much going on that it's just fun to be all gathered again. So again, welcome. I do want to say just briefly, we are in the last 2 weeks of our first quarter dedicated pledge period for the Main Street Tax Credit Program. You've heard me talk about this a lot. I'm going to continue to do so. We still have some work to do on it. If you are a business in the state of Washington, you can donate to a Main Street program and receive a 75% credit on the amount of that donation in your B&O tax account. So we are busy trying to talk with businesses large and small. We are well over $50,000 in pledges right now on our way to a goal. It's not a guarantee. We do have to educate businesses about this program. And we have board members and committee members working on this. So if you have any ideas of a business that might like to keep their tax dollars local, instead of sending them all the way to Olympia, it's a great tool and vehicle. Washington State is unique to have this B&O tax credit program. There's no other state in the country that does Main Street programs that has this tax credit. So what it says is that the legislators that are working in Olympia recognize the value of successful historic downtowns. So we appreciate that support. What we have coming up next, Main Street-wise, is our Get Involved Ridgefield event that is going to be next Saturday, March 28th. In an effort we were talking about how can we get the word out about needing volunteers, and knowing that there are a lot of other community organizations that utilize volunteers. We put this thing together pretty quickly to say, hey, let's have an event where people can come to one place and learn all about different organizations, civic and otherwise, who utilize volunteers. So we have put that word out on Saturday from 2 to 5 at the RAC, 510 Pioneer Street. The public can come, and all nonprofit or an organization that utilizes volunteers will be there with information. So that will be fun. Next, we are working on activating summer evenings, and this is still in the planning stages. It's going to be a Discover Downtown event feeling. What we know so far is it's going to be second Wednesdays from June through September, and stay tuned for details about that. And the last thing I wanted to talk about again, Main Street directors meet quarterly. I've talked about this before, about how we travel around the state and meet quarterly and talk about our Main Street programs, our communities, our challenges, our successes. Very proud to announce that in July, on the 28th for 3 days, the Washington Main Street directors are coming here to Ridgefield. We've never been able to host them before. I know, it's really good. The reason we haven't been able to have them is that we didn't have any local lodging. But now that the hotel has opened up in A, they're a great supporter of Main Street. They're going to help us with lodging. And for 3 days, we will have about 45 Main Street directors and committee chairs and board members in and around Ridgefield. Doing little tours. We have lots of classes. We will be having lunch and dinner. We may offer yoga in the morning, maybe a kayak in the afternoon, and really just show off downtown Ridgefield to Main Street directors from all over the state. So really excited and pleased and proud about that. So that will be fun to get ready for. And I think that is going to be it for now. Our first speaker is Ethan Perry from the Port of Ridgefield. Happy to have him here for an update. he's going to introduce himself further, and we'll figure out how he wants to be seated. So please welcome Ethan.
Testing. Oh. Okay, here we go, guys. Hello. Nice to see you all. My name is Ethan Perry. I am the Executive Director for the Port of Ridgefield. So I've been with the Port now for 9 years, going on 9 years. I've been serving as your Executive Director for 1. I started at the Port as a wee lad intern. Came on, actually got connected to Brent Grenning, who was the CEO at the time. Came down, had an interview. I was a public affairs major at Washington State University, Vancouver. Came down to the Red Building, which is where our office was at the time, and sat in the parking lot 10 minutes before my interview and quickly Googled what is a port. So, and we found out that that's actually pretty common with employees with people who, we don't often talk about what ports do or the impact that they have on our communities. We also don't talk about it in school. In college, I was a public affairs major, and we didn't really discuss it. And most of our employees at the Port have fallen into the Port by accident. So it's common throughout. First, I do want to say I have a boss here, Commissioner Joe Melroy. He's one of your 3 port commissioners. Many of you know Joe. I'll talk about him briefly here in a minute. So if you have anything nice to say or great to say about the port, talk to Joe. If you have something negative, put it in your diary. No, I'm kidding. Come tell Joe we have an open door policy. Port staff are here for you. We're here for the commission. The commission are here for you. We just want to make sure that you guys know that you have access to us, and we're happy to have those conversations. So now that you guys are my captive audience for a little bit, I got about 40 slides to get through. I am sorry in advance. I hope to keep you here. I was trying to time it where I had 20 seconds per slide, and I've already failed. So we're going to try to get through this. I wanted to kind of go over briefly. Make sure this works. No. Oh. Maybe 35 seconds. There we go.
Well, that was me.
Oh, that was you. Okay, go ahead. You direct it. I don't think it'll reach. Here, let me try this.
You're going to talk to Tony.
Let's go back. One more. Perfect. Okay, I'll put this down. It'll free up my hand anyways. Okay.
Oh, do you want me to click it? Or
I'll have you click it. I don't think this works.
I'll just advance from here.
It might be too far. Thank you. Sorry. You got 40 slides to go through. So, okay. So first, I wanted to kind of give you a brief introduction of Washington Ports 101. Then I'll go over quickly Port of Ridgefield, a little bit of history. Then I'll go over our current projects, which is probably why you're all here. If you're here for the port, you want to hear more about our current projects. So go ahead and go to the next. And one more. So there are 75 ports in Washington State. I love this map. This shows you where all the 75 ports are. There are 33 counties with port districts. In Washington State, we have 39 counties. In Clark County, you've got 3 port districts. So we've got Port of Ridgefield, we're the smaller port. We've got Port of Kamaswashugal, they are the medium-sized port. And then we've got Port of Vancouver, which is our large port. We call ourselves one great region, 3 great ports. We actually collaborate with the 2 ports. Often, port staff meet with the Port of Vancouver and Port of Kamaswashugal once a month. And then we also have a board meeting with our port commissions once a year. And then we go up and lobby together. We have a legislative agenda. We put our projects together and work closely. Ports are municipal corporations, so that means that we operate in the public sector. We're accountable to you as taxpayers. But we also have to think and act like a business. We do this by developing property, managing infrastructure, and supporting job and industry. We are created under RCW 53, under Washington state law. were created by voters within the Port District, and most of us in Washington State are governed by 3 board port commissioners. They're all elected. There are 7 ports in Washington State that have a 5-board port commission. We're funded through a mix of leases, business revenue, and limited property tax, and we're focused on economic development, trade, and community assets. You can go ahead and go to the next one. Okay, so here's a list of Washington State ports. I love to see this. It just kind of shows you, okay, these are all the ports. You can go to the next one. These are all the ports that are similar in size, either by scale or size to the Port of Ridgefield. You can go to the next one. Okay, ports across Washington State. So fun fact, ports were originally created to ensure public access use of shoreline. Many of our shoreline's waterways would actually be private with no access if it weren't for ports. We've transitioned into much more. So many ports focus on things like marine cargo and international trade. That's probably the most famous one that everybody thinks of when you think of a port. Ports like Seattle, Tacoma, Vancouver, Kalama, and Port of Longview all focus on that. We have industrial and business park development. That's ports like Benton, Moses Lake, Centralia, Chehalis, Walla Walla. Airports and railroad facilities, that's like Port of Chelan, Douglas, Port Authority on the east side. We've got Port of Whitman County, Port of Pasco, and again, Seattle, Tacoma. Marinas and boat launches, we've got ports like Everett, Camas, Washougal, Grays Harbor that all have a decent size of a marina. Port of Everett actually has the largest public marina on the West Coast with actually 2,300 slips, which is massive in the port world. Then waterfront development, all ports like Port of Vancouver, Camas, Washougal, Pasco, all have active projects going on today. Environmental cleanup and land reuse, we've got ports like Bellingham, Tacoma, Port Angeles, and Anacortes. Port of Ridgefield, we focus mostly on industrial and business park development, marinas and boat launches, waterfront redevelopment, and environmental cleanup and land reuses. We can go to the next one. So quickly, we're done with the lecture on Washington ports in Washington State. Now we'll go into a little bit of history of Port of Ridgefield, and then we'll go into current projects. So just with a quick show of hands, how many of you live in the 98642 zip code? Okay, pretty much all, yeah, all of you. I kind of figured that was the case. How many of you knew that you actually live in a port district? Okay, most of you, good, that's great. How many of you are like, Port of Ridgefield Port, where are the ships? Yeah, me too. You know, I was a ship kid growing up. Yeah, I was a ship kid growing up. I loved ships, and it's like, well, you know, Port of Ridgefield, we don't have ships, but we do have a boat launch, so we're halfway there. I don't think we can dredge enough to get the ships down here. I don't think we want the ships down here, but maybe, you know, when I was 10, I did. So Port of Ridgefield, roughly 250 people come to work every day at port-owned properties. And then when you include jobs located on land that the port previously developed or sold for employment uses, the total number increases to 1,400. So we have a big economic impact on the 98642 zip code. And like I said, we have 250 current employees that go to port-owned properties every day. We can go to the next one. A little bit of history. So we were established by voters in 1940. We actually just celebrated our 86th birthday on March 15th, 1940, or March 15th this year. We actually had a unanimous vote to create the Port of Ridgefield with all 218 registered voters in 1940. So I think we're at, I don't quote me, but we have like 26,000 people in 98642, something like that. So 218, it's quite the difference. So for 86 years, we focused on economic development. We originally focused on river and industrial access, and then we evolved to include development and business parks. We can go to the next one. So operations, we're governed by 3 elected commissioners. They're on 6-year terms. We are funded through property tax revenue, lease revenue, and then state and federal grants. So us at the Port of Ridgefield, we collect about $1 million a year in tax revenue. So if you're, we collect about 12 cents per $1,000 evaluation. So if your home is evaluated to be about $500,000, you're paying the port $60 a year in property tax. Then in lease revenue, we collect about $1.3 million. This is through various leases, mostly our industrial properties. Then state and federal funding, we rely heavily on this, so we collect generally around $2 to $5 million a year for our projects. So we're a heavy grant and or state and federal grant reliant. Then we take that revenue and reinvest it into the community assets. So private business would take their profits and give it to the shareholders. We take our profits and then put it back into the community. We can go to the next one. So here are your three commissioners. We've got Commissioner Joe Melroy. He's in the back. So Commissioner Joe Melroy moved here in 1968. He owned a sheet metal company. He retired and he took over at the port as a commissioner. He was elected in 1997. And then he I'm sure most of you know him. He's extremely active in the community, active in the Lions Club. Then we've got Commissioner Bruce Wiseman. He's District 1. Many of you know him as the Tree Wiseman. They own the tree farm on the other side of the freeway. He also retired from managing the refuge. So he completed his tenure there. Then he moved over across the fence to represent the port. And then you have Commissioner Scott Hughes. Many of you know him as the owner of what was the hardware store. Now our partners at the Art Association have it as their art gallery. I did see Tara Nathan in the toy store, the floral shop, and the sputter gear. So excited about that. So those are your three port commissioners. Those are my three bosses. Next slide. We've got the port districts. So Commissioner Bruce Wiseman is Port District 1. He's on the east side of the freeway. You've got Commissioner Scott Hughes. He's on the northern part of the port district. And then you've got Commissioner Joe Melroy, who's on the southern part. We are the same area as the school district. So they are all of 98642. We are as well. Okay, next one. Okay, we're getting to the end of the history. So notable projects. This is current and past projects. Number 1 and 2, Ridgefield Waterfront and the Greeley Building, we'll be discussing here in a little bit. Discovery Ridge, I do want to touch on this one. That's number 3. Can you guys see that okay? Yeah. Discovery Ridge, that was port-owned land. We partnered with the developer and the city to help bring Rose Hours to Ridgefield. Our role, we were the property owner, and then we sold it to the developer at a community rate to help bring the store in. Then we've got number 4. That's the Ridgefield Industrial Park. That's where you see like the Pepsi building and the other industrial buildings. So in 1984, the port purchased 80 acres. We worked with the city to plan and bring infrastructure to the site. Then the port marketed and sold off parcels of that land for private development, and we still own 23 acres out there. Number 5 is the Tri-Mountain Golf Course. We developed that, and then the county ended up taking it over. Number 6 is Discovery Point. It's similar to the industrial park. We purchased 75 acres. We sold it to Peace Health in hopes to having a large medical campus. Peace Health is exploring alternatives. I think we heard at the State of the City last night that there's plans for maybe a home improvement store location or something over there. Number 7 will be going over. That's Wisdom Ridge Business Park. And then number 8, you can kind of see it down here by our logo. It's actually supposed to be at 179th, which is way down here. But that's a future project that we're looking into. We're in the feasibility phase of having a South Ridgefield Business Park. Okay, now we can go to the next slide. This is probably what you're more interested in. So thank you for sitting through that. I'll now go over the current project. So first project is the Ridgefield Waterfront Land Development. So a little bit more history. The port has spent the last 30 years and $90 million doing the cleanup down here. So before the port did the cleanup, it was serving as the Pacific Wood Treating Company. They were a creosote wood treating operation. They were pressure treating railroad ties, power poles, and other lumber. They actually went bankrupt in 1993. We were the landlord at the time. They were paying us I think it was $1,000 a year for a lease, but they went bankrupt in 1993, came up to the port office, handed over their keys, said, hey, we're going bankrupt. You might want to check the creosote tanks. They may be leaking. And sure enough, they were. So that's what kind of began the process of us being like, okay, we've got to do something with the site. The commission at the time were like, okay, we really had two options. We could have fenced off the property, made it a Superfund site, said no access, did a little bit of mitigation so the creosote wouldn't spread. But the commission said, no, we're here for the environment. We need to make sure to clean this up, bring it back into the community use. So we spent the last 30 years, $90 million cleaning up the site. This was in partnership with the Department of Ecology. The port invested around $10 million. Ecology did closer to $80 to $90 million. We still owe the Department of Ecology $4 million for the work, but we're paying that back year by year. The other thing that I'll say, so the heaviest or the largest plume, let me see if I can, the largest plume was, can I talk through this one? Okay, largest plume of creosote was right here where these buildings are. You can kind of see the tanks there. So then it went over to where they were actually pressure treating. Over here you see the lumber pre-treatment. That's where they would treat it, and then you see it post-treatment. Also you'll notice the roads, how dark they were. So when you go to a construction site, sometimes you'll see trucks driving, tanker trucks, where they spray water on the road. They were actually using creosote, which is great for dust mitigation, terrible for the environment. So we did not, that's really what also helped cause the spread. The plume was spreading into Carty Lake. It was also spreading into Lake River, and then wherever they were spraying, that was also affecting. Then as the trucks drove up through downtown, they were also dripping. You can see the dark line there. They were also dripping creosote as they were coming up, which contaminated yards as well. So we did the environmental cleanup, $90 million. We also have been tackling residential homes. How many homes have we cleaned up of yours? Okay, I know, yeah. So we cleaned up 29 yards. I think we completed that in 2017. We completed 11 yards last year, and we've got 4 more, and then we're done. So we're very excited. We're also doing some right-of-way, but we're very excited for that. We also, as we were removing the creosote, we were the first operation to use steam. So we are steaming the ground to pull up the creosote. And it was resulting in a $500 or $500,000 a month water bill, which is a piece of this, but we were able to pump up the creosote. We actually still have some jars around the old office showing the creosote, and then we were able to get rid of it. We also scraped off a lot of the contaminated dirt, removed it, brought it out, took it to a landmine that took that kind of waste, and then we capped the site. When we capped the site, we did 2 to 7 feet of clean dirt, which allowed us to pull the site out of the 100-year floodplain and make it ready for redevelopment. We can go to the next photo. So I love this photo. This is one of my favorite photos that we have. This is actually in 1932. It was a mill prior to the Pacific Wood Treating Company, but it really goes to show you how much the waterfront was an employment hub. We had reports of between 200 to 450 employees at the waterfront at any given time. And you can kind of tell here, everybody looks a little sad. No one's really smiling except for the guy in the tie, management on the end. They also say if you look closely, a lot of people are hiding their hands because they're missing their fingers. Yeah. We can go to the next slide. So here we have what it looked like during Pacific Wood Treating's era. It was heavy industrial. How many of you remember the site looking like that? How many of you were here for that? Okay, a few of you, yeah. So we can go to the next slide. So this is what you see today. All of you, I'm sure, have seen it, what it looks like today. We have, a beautiful space that's ready for redevelopment. The commission has set aside 9 acres to keep it a waterfront park. When we collected the $90 million and invested the $10 million of port dollars, we did agree with the Department of Ecology that we would redevelop the property and bring it back into taxable use. So to try to recoup some of that money, we promised that we'd bring it back into taxable use. We're doing that through jobs and commerce. And like I said earlier, we still owe the Department of Ecology $4 million for the site. Then the state and the port invested another $17 million into the rail overpass, which allows safe passage to the waterfront. So between the port and ecology, we've spent more than $110 million bringing the site up to what it is today. Okay, we can go to the next. So I was showing you what it looked like yesterday, today, and now I'm showing you what it looks like, what it will hopefully look like tomorrow. So we've partnered with Palindrome. They're a local development firm. They have projects in the Lentz neighborhood in Portland, Vancouver Heights. They also have a project in Puyallup and then scattered throughout Washington State. Great development firm. We're really excited to have them. They really make a space authentically fit in with the community. They also reflect the community with their development that they're coming into. And they focus on Pacific Northwest design, which is what we love as well. We can go to the next one. Another image of what we're expecting. So event space, restaurants, retail industry, water access, breweries. I know people are like, oh, how many breweries do we need in Ridgefield? Well, we need more. So we really want to create a space where people can live, work, and play. But not just live and work and play on the waterfront. We want a place where people all over Ridgefield can come, play, work, and enjoy the waterfront for many years to come. So we can go to the next slide. So this is phase one conceptual. So for legal reasons, these renderings illustrate concepts and possibilities. The final designs may look different once engineering, permitting, and budgets weigh in. We do get in a little bit of trouble when I share concepts. Sometimes my marketing team is like, oh, it's a concept, and I'm like, no, we'll just show it. Everybody should see it. We're a public agency. But people do get latched onto it. Things will change. Things have probably changed since we got this a couple weeks ago, the updated version. But for the most part, we're sticking to it. So we're planning to break ground in 2027, so next year. We're in the development agreement phase. So with development, there's really the more difficult paperwork side of things. You've got the exclusive negotiation agreement, you've got the memorandum of understanding agreement, you've got the development agreement, you've got the master leasing agreement, then you've got the phase one leasing agreement. Then you can develop. Or then you can go for permits, and then you can develop. So it's a complicated process, but it's necessary to make sure that we're all in alignment. The other thing that I'll note is the commission have kept this land. We're doing a land lease with Palindrome. We want to make sure that this property, the commission, it's very important to make sure that this property is in public ownership forever. So we're prioritizing that. Palindrome is very happy to do that. They'll continue to maintain. We're looking at roughly a 50 to 80-year lease, all to be decided. So as you come down the overpass, you'll see the Randall Drive, Pioneer Street. You'll go past the boat launch, and then that first building is a roughly 25,000 square foot office space with 5,000 ground floor retail or commercial space. The port will actually be moving our operations back into that building. We don't need the whole building. We're a small port, but we'll be moving our operations back. That's something that's really important to the commission, making sure that the port is back on the waterfront where we belong. We moved out of the red building and moved into the TMI building down here, but once the office building is complete, we'll be moving back into the waterfront. Then as you come down, that first rectangle building is a small boutique hotel. So that is a 58-room small boutique hotel. Palindrome, something really cool about Palindrome is they actually own and operate their own hospitality line. So they have Palindrome, they have Pacific Cap, which is a construction company, and then they also own their hospitality line. So they already own and operate a hotel. They also own and operate breweries. So they'll be bringing their own brewery here, hopefully, and have it in the hotel. The orange building there is ground floor retail, upper story apartments. And then as you go out, they'll be doing infrastructure throughout. But then as you go up to the North Pole Yard, you'll see some red buildings. Those are also residential. We're exploring the need for workforce development housing. That is for people who make roughly, don't quote me on this, I think it's roughly $68,000 to $80,000 a year. So we need a space where we can have some affordable housing. We can go to the next slide. So don't panic. This isn't going to happen overnight. This is full build out. We've got a 10 plus year plan for this site. So phase 1 is what you just saw. This is full build out. Again, this will change. We are not super, we know that it's going to change. It's also available on our website if you're interested. You can go portridgefield.org. There should be a waterfront, I think it's under Business and Properties Waterfront tab, and then there should be some iteration of this. And if it's not this iteration, it's another one because it changes so frequently. But kind of the same concept as you come down, office building, hotel, ground floor retail are all the orange buildings with upper story apartments. The red buildings are apartments, and then the blue buildings are more like industrial, light use, like maker space, etc. And then we do have a potential building over there. We've got more parking. And then, of course, the city's property, the waste treatment plant that is supposed to be decommissioned in 2034. That's all to be continued. Okay, we can go to the next slide. So one of the most important parts of this, or if not the most important part to the commission, is the waterfront park. So we can go to the next slide. We've set aside 9 acres. We worked with the city of Ridgefield to make sure that we go out to the public and come up with a vision diagram. This is what has been adopted by the city council and the port commission. We went out, did public outreach, hired a firm to do the design, and this really goes to show you more of the active program character, active space over here, and then over on this side, we're more of like passive, natural side. We've got event space, play area, passive lawn. It's a vision diagram. Again, this will change. This is the reason we did it as a vision diagram is it's a little safer to change this than an exact conceptual. Okay, we can go to the next slide. Okay, so this is the new iteration of the active side of the waterfront park. So as you can see, there's the boat launch. We've got the office space, we've got the hotel. This is an event space, so we're calling it a flexible event space with tiered seating. So this is really a place where people can come, we can have performances, whatnot, but really it's a place where people can come hang out in the 99% of the other time when there's not performances and watch the boats go by, watch the kayaks go by, hang out, have lunch, just kind of hang out. We also have restrooms going in, and if you see here, you can see the tiering. It goes from 26 feet up to 32 feet, and that's just basically showing. I'm not an engineer, but it's like this. Then we've got we've got a play space up in the upper right-hand corner. This was an interesting topic. As we were looking at the waterfront, we do not want like a jungle gym swing set. This is more of a natural play area. We have some in the city already, but this is what we're expecting. And I said, that's great as long as on top of the office building we can get like a water jet to like shoot the kids with water and tell them to scram. Or else I'm gonna have to buy the staff like AirPods, noise canceling AirPods for Christmas so that the kids aren't screaming outside. But we're very excited about this. We're still working through iterations. This is not completely set in stone, but this is what Palindrome has come up with. And then, next slide. So this goes to show you the passive side. This concept has also changed. This is the newest iteration we have, but it has changed quite dramatically. But it shows you what we're thinking for this side. So we're thinking passive lawns, art walk, overlook, water access, boat lockers, picnic shelter. This does go a little, this is gonna change. watch our social media, watch our website, and as we come up with better renderings, we'll keep pushing this out there. We can go to the next slide. There we go. Okay, so this really is here, I can sit down again. The development down there is really three parts. So we've got the land development, we've got the park development, and then we've got the in-water development. So the commission really wants the Ridgefield waterfront to be the paddle capital of the Pacific Northwest. So that's kind of what we're going for. If we can go to the next slide. So we've started to do a feasibility study of adding ADA accessible kayak launch day dock. We've near completed the feasibility study. This is not set in stone. We're just trying to see what exactly can happen down here. We're looking at permitting. With waterfront development, we have NOAA Fisheries, Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife, DNR, Army Corps of Engineers, and the refuge that we have to work through. So this is just a feasibility study. We're just trying to see exactly what can happen down here and the process as well as the costs. If we were to do these types of docks, we're looking at between $4 and $6 million. And that's money today, but it takes 3 to 5 years to permit a single dock. So this is a long-term plan. We're just starting to plan now, and things will change. We can go to the next slide. So something that is a priority for the city and the port is to make sure that we have more accessibility in Ridgefield. So these are what the ADA accessible kayak could look like, the kayak launch could look like. We really want to contribute to that accessibility. So this is what we're really thinking about. We can go to the next slide. Okay, current boat launch. So we're exploring ways to improve our current boat launch and day dock. This is things like extending the launch floats. So for the actual launch, extending the floats. We hope that we can almost double the size of the current launch. That allows people to kind of pull in, allows for more capacity, and then also extend our day dock for more capacity. We can go to the next slide. So an example of a launch that we love is actually in Clatsop County in Westport. This was brought to us by another constituent, and we looked into it and we're like, yes, we love this boat launch. So as we continue to look at improvements, if that's the route we go, we will be looking through this. There's much more day dock capacity, and we know that this kind of day dock will cost us between $2 to $4 million. Now, we're also hearing there's some interest in moving the boat launch to the northern part of the waterfront. There are a lot of moving pieces to the development, so we're continuing to have those conversations with the city and the developer. So again, these site plans are contingent. We're still moving through to see what exactly is best for the development. Okay, we can move to the next slide. So our environmental impact is heavily on our mind. It's something that's very important to commission and staff. We can change the next slide. Thank you, Mary Kay. So in 2024, we received a $1.3 million grant from Washington State Department of Transportation. This allowed us to replace some equipment, some gas-powered equipment in vehicles with electric vehicles and equipment. And then it's also allowed us to add 3 level 2 chargers to our business park, and then also add 12 level 3 chargers to the waterfront project. This we are doing, we're designing the bid documents right now. We're going out to bid here in the next month or two to get this going. We have roughly $900,000 to do this project. We expect to spend that and a little bit more. Luckily, Clark Public Utilities also gave us a grant of $75,000. So we believe we'll be able to do it within budget. Construction has to be done this year as part of this grant. So it's challenging, but we're on it. Okay, we can go to the next slide. Okay, so we patrol Lake River for derelict vessels. That's something that we started doing 2 years ago, and we're very excited that it's a part of the port's environmental outreach. So what we do is we go out and look for submerged, in danger of causing negative environmental impact on the waterways. We patrol from the Columbia River and a little bit of Lewis River down to Vancouver Lake. So far, we've removed 14 vessels, and we're hoping to remove an additional 5 this year if we can find them. So the good news is, because we've been patrolling, the people who bring the derelict vessels down to Lake River haven't been coming down here. So we're very happy that we're making an impact there. Luckily, this is also something that is reimbursable. Department of Natural Resources has a program, their derelict vessel program. So everything that we do is fully reimbursable, and it's actually a lengthy process. So we have to go out, we have to find the boats, we have to tag the boats, we have to look for the owners of the boats. Then we are able to hire a contractor to go out, remove the boats. Then we have to hold the boats for a certain amount of time. Then we can destroy the boats. So it's a lot of work. We're fortunate to partner with the Sheriff Marine Patrol and then Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife. Marine Patrol, who go out with us and check on the boats. We don't want port staff to approach a boat unless we have law enforcement with us. Next slide. So one of my favorite topics, we've got the Osprey Cam. First year was a little challenging. Second year was a little challenging. This year we're hoping for a good year. Luckily, we've figured out the equipment. So this is called Osprey Cam 3.0. It's really to look at the life of an osprey, another way to connect people to the waterfront. Also, on a business standpoint, we were going from about 10,000 viewers to our website a year to 70,000 once we implemented the Osprey Cam. So if you're interested, you go portridgefield.org. Up in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see Osprey Cam. Click on it. It'll take you to a video thing. You can watch it live. Some classrooms watch it, which is really cool. Also, we also have a camera that looks at the boat launch. So if you go to our boating page, you can see our boat launch as well. It's a little crooked. It drives me nuts. But if you tip your TV or monitor, it's fun. We did already see our first osprey of the year, so we're pretty excited about that. However, it was a mama going to steal the sticks from this nest and take them to another nest. So our fingers are crossed we'll have a good, successful season. We can switch slides. So industrial facilities. So I was a project manager for the port after my internship, became project manager, and quickly fell in love with industrial development. It's an odd thing to say, but I love industrial development. So we're really excited to look at the future of the Port of Ridgefield and our industrial facilities. We can go to the next slide. This is our Wisdom Ridge Business Park. So we've got 2 20,000 square foot buildings out there, and then we also own the original 5 headquarters for Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife. In the Wisdom Ridge Business Park, in the northern building there, on the east side, we have the Ridgefield School District. They're our tenant. They have their CAPS Center for Advanced Professional Services program in there. And then on the other side, we have Cascadia Tech, who has their electrical program. So we have an education center there. In the back buildings, we've got, in the eastern half, we have BTB Solutions. They're a robotics firm. So they actually get custom orders, or they get people who say, hey, we've got this problem. Like Kellogg's is one of them that said, hey, we need a robot that can stack cereal boxes. And so actually I went out there to see what they were working on, and they had crates of Kellogg's cereal. And they're like, oh, load up, take some. I was like, my stomach won't handle that. But their staff have been taking them home. They probably still have some at this point, and that was a year ago. But another cool project, so Portland is the hub, the manufacturing hub for pom-poms, like cheerleaders. And if you didn't know that, now you do. But they actually were called in to help make a pom-pom fluffer. So if you think about it, pom-pom fluffing is hard on the joints, right? You give me 5 of those and I'm gonna be taking an Advil. So it's difficult. So they developed a robot that can fluff pom-poms. And they're actually a company that went from a garage to Wisdom Ridge. So they were in a garage here. They were a small business. And now they've grown to 14 employees, so we're happy to have them be a tenant. We also have Revival Heating and Cooling. They're a local heating and cooling firm. If you use them, remember, it helps the port. That's not a plug for them, you do you, but I always like to say that. And then Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife, the Regional 5 headquarters, another great tenant. We love to have them out here. Can we go to the next slide? So this is a glimpse of our next project. We have what we're calling Oak Ridge Business Park. This is a 20,000-ish square foot building. We've got approximately 1.63 acres to work with here. With that site, we're out for design and development or a feasibility study for a firm right now. So we're expecting to get those statements of qualifications back this week or next week. And then we'll start exploring what exactly we can do with this. What we're hoping to do is something similar to Wisdom Ridge, a 20,000 square foot building that we can house small business. So the commission have prioritized small business for this park. We want to make sure that small business in Ridgefield has a place to go. We're talking 1,000 square foot suites, 2,000 square foot suites, 3,000. Back when we were leasing out Wisdom Ridge, I actually ended up with a list of 18 companies who needed smaller space than the 10 to 20,000 square feet that we were offering. Also next door, there's buildings going in that are like 50,000 square feet, 40,000 square feet. So that need is met. We're more interested in helping the small businesses who can then grow and go into those other spaces. Cool. Next slide. Okay, so the Greeley building. This is a challenging topic. We can go to the next building. You can see here. So we've been working through design development on this site for the last year plus. We partnered with LSW Architects. We have completed the design development. Unfortunately, as they were looking into the building, it is in more disrepair than we already anticipated. So we acquired the building from the school district. We did a property swap, and we realized early on that the building was in more disrepair than we anticipated. There are things like there's contamination underneath the site. It's safe to be in. It's not something to be afraid of, but long term, it's something that needs to be addressed. Luckily, we are a port of remediation. We know how to do that, so we're not afraid of it, but it does need to be addressed. The other issues that we're seeing is the building is not seismically sound. It actually is requiring steel beams every 2 feet, which when you start to think about that, it starts to become a lot. Also in some of the renderings, you'll see bracing across the windows, which is also a challenge and expensive. Another kind of interesting thing, I'm gonna end up going off on a tangent, but about 25% of the brick actually has to be replaced. And the whole point is to keep the building, that's why we wanted to do it. It's an almost 100-year-old or over 100-year-old building. And so we were excited about that. Also, you have to go in between each brick and remove the mortar and then replace it. So think about all the bricks. Next time you drive by it, I think it's an entire half block or something like that. It's a 10,000 square foot building. When you drive by it, imagine out there chiseling away. So anyways, that's what ended up making it cost around $9 million to do the exact build out that we want to do. We have $3 million seed money from the Community Economic Revitalization Board. We do have to pay back $2.25 million of that. And then we need an additional $6 million to do this. That's where we take the commission, port staff, and we start to decide what's the best use of public funds. A building like this, we were hoping it was going to be about $600 per square foot to rehabilitate it. It's going to be around $900, and it's only growing by the day. So we're still in the phase of trying to figure out what exactly to do with it. We are partnering with the city this year to, they're planning on hosting some events in it, so we're excited about that to at least get it into temporary use. Okay, and last slide. So, there we go. So what's next for the Port of Ridgefield? So other than what you just saw, that's quite a bit going on. But what we're really here, we're in a transformation period right now. We've got the waterfront, which is bringing 350 jobs over the next, hopefully 10 plus years. We really want to focus on job creation and revenue generation. Using the success of the waterfront to build momentum for future projects, we're planning next our business park in South Ridgefield. So when I showed you that number 8 that's in the southern part of the Port District, that's what we're going to start transitioning and focusing a bit more energy on that, as well as our other projects. We really want to keep supporting small and medium business, which is a commission priority. We currently have 250 port-owned or people coming to work every day at port-owned industrial properties. Our goal is to double that in the next 10 years. So for industrial properties, we want to double that. We want to bring 500 employees to the Ridgefield 98642 in port-owned buildings. We are going to be doing this by leveraging grants and moving funding to move this project forward. So our hope is to grow port revenue to help reinvest back into community projects. So with that, I probably took an hour. I apologize. When I timed myself, I kept timing. I was like, okay, 28 minutes, 29, 35, 42. But here we go. Are we doing Q&A?
You can.
Remember, you're putting me on the spot with my boss here, so I'm kidding. Please.
Ethan, is there a maximum number of stories for the building that will be down by the water, the hotel, the apartments,
Yep.
all that?
Absolutely, great question. Yes, and I'm happy to share with you kind of a map of what that looks like. It's not stories, it's feet.
Okay, well,
And I'm not going to quote, but I am going to kind of quote. I think there are certain points going back in my memory where it's like 40 feet, maybe 50 feet. I think the highest point is 75 feet. And the commission has reiterated that is not something that we want to do. So we're keeping it as low as we can, comfortably keep it with the developer, knowing that they need to go to a certain level to, make their money back. So we will.
so less than 75.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to share it next Main Street meeting. I'll make sure to bring the map, and if anyone else wants to see it, go to the next slide. There's my email. I'm sure it's on the website somewhere, but I can't tell you where it's at exactly right now. Yep, great question. Thank you. Anyone else? Oh, go ahead, Marilee.
So I'd like to thank the commissioners. I really appreciate that they're not selling the dirt.
Yep.
I think that is significant for our town. Many ports have sold off their dirt, and so I really appreciate that vision. And then my question is, what's going to happen to that little red pump house?
Oh, that's a great question too. So if you look at the site plans, and every single site plan, it's different because we don't know. So we've purposely kept it there because when you're doing in-water work, it's easier to replace and put back. Actually, what you're required to do is you can place and then remove. So the bummer thing with our waterfront, we actually removed 108 pilings. We don't get to bank that. We actually have to go back and do other mitigation. So we've left it there because we want to do something with it at some point. We have offered it to Palindrome, the developer, to come up with an idea. We've had many ideas internally, from things like just a lookout where people can go out to, a place where people can do yoga, a place where people can have a coffee, a wine bar, brewery, and just many different ideas to be continued. And if anyone has a great idea, we also have a place on our website. Contact us. There's a little form. Fill it out. Tell us your ideas. We bring those to the commission as well. So we welcome any input. Commissioner Melroy. Oh.
Yes, that's fine. You've done a great job, and I appreciate it very much. What I want to do is make sure that these folks who can come out and pay attention, maybe they'll get interested in what we're doing on the waterfront as well as the rest of the community. And come attend our meetings, come and see us. We are a public agency. We're glad to have you at the meetings. They're different from most public meetings you'll go to. I think you'll find that they're enjoyable, really.
Very enjoyable.
She comes regularly. We really welcome the community to come and pay attention. And thank you very much. You've done a great job.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I'll just plug on that really quick. So we do have multiple opportunities to come see us. We have our Wednesday commission meetings, 3-ish, or they start at 3, go on until 5. We have our, every other week, we have workshops at 8 a.m. We have that entire list of when our meetings are on our website. If you go to public meetings, there you can also watch them on Zoom. We also record our meetings, and you can find those on the website. And then we also have other opportunities that are coming. We do commission coffee, where you can come and chat with the commissioners. We do, we're gonna do a walk with Ethan, where you can meet with me at the port office, and we'll do a walk to the port buildings and then go down to the waterfront and talk more. And then we'll also be doing golf cart tours at some point this summer. So thank you. Yes.
What's the impact on all the wildlife down there and all the birds? And I know you guys have problems with this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We work very closely with the refuge. We actually just had the refuge out here to the port office a couple weeks ago. They are fully aware of everything that we're doing. We also work with Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife as a tenant and as someone who's paying attention. So we're tracking that. We're putting it on our developers to make sure that what we are contributing to the waterfront is bird safe and some kind of mitigation type. A project that we're working on right now, we're doing some purple martin habitat. We're partnering with the refuge. And then, yeah, does that help answer?
Still want to see our birds go away.
Yeah, absolutely. No, neither do we. Neither do we. Which is why we're working closely with the refuge to make sure that whatever we do is going to not harm and, in fact, celebrate. One of the things that we're also doing is enhancing the refuge entrance and making sure that there's parking there so that people can go on to the Carty Lake unit. So if you have any feedback, please the contact us page or my email, or if you want to come in, I'll buy you a cup of coffee, get some of your $60 back for your contribution, and chat through any concerns. Absolutely, those are our concerns as well. Yep. Thank you.
I noticed on your map you had a little art walk.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Yes. Thank you for pointing that out. I'm sorry. Okay. So the art walk, we're actually in design phase or in pre-design phase. But what we're hoping to do is, you can see this in Olympia, where they have permanent pillars, and you can put replaceable or removable sculptures. And so what we want to do is partner with our partners, the Ridgefield Art Association. We also want to partner with the Cowlitz Tribe and maybe do half and half, and do sculptures out there so that people can walk through, have plates down, really display the art. Maybe do 5 Art Association, 5 Cowlitz Tribe. We're still working through that, but that's what we're thinking. A good way to display local artists and then tribal art as well. Cool. Okay, I'm getting kicked off. Oh, last one. This is also telling me to go. Tired of my...
How do we get public meetings outside of daytime hours?
Yeah, that's a great. Oh, sorry.
Just something in the evening that more people can attend?
Yeah, that's a great question or a great comment. Yep, I'll happily take that back to the commission. So some of the commission coffees, I know 6 p.m. is weird for a coffee, but we are moving a coffee to 6 p.m. to make sure that we can have that. We've, in the past, moved our meetings around trying to figure out the best time that most public will come. When we moved it to early in the morning, it was harder for people. When we moved it to evening, we were actually getting less people than we were when we had the meetings at the current time.
When was the last time it was in the evening?
Oh, it was during Brent Grenning's time. I don't remember exactly when. Yeah.
Maybe you could revisit there.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that input. Absolutely. Thank you. Tara? Yeah, thank you, Tara. Okay, now I'm getting the hook. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone.
I know we have such good information and we have 2 more speakers. So I would thank you, Ethan. Love the history tie-in, love the nod to working with the other ports, just as I always talk about the Main Street programs. All 3 of our Main Street programs work together too. And we're just so lucky in this community about partnerships. Another one of Ridgefield's very important partners and downtown as well is the Police Activities League of Southwest Washington. Jesse Jimenez is here. He won't tell you this, but our Police Activities League is getting national attention because of the work that he's doing, and his staff, and just the direction and leadership that he provides. If you don't know what the Police Activities League is, get ready. And I'm going to go switch the video.
Well, good evening, everybody. Is this on? You guys hear me okay? Nope. Yeah. No, not on. Now? Okay, that sounds better. All right. Well, good evening. That's a tough act to follow. And I know that your guys' food is probably just settling in right where you're ready to take a nap. So if you start snoring, there's a mandatory $50 donation to the Police Activities League during my presentation. I want to start out by thanking Main Street Ridgefield, Mary Kay and Kellyanna, for inviting me and wanting to highlight our partnership between Ridgefield and the Police Activities League tonight. I did, when Mary Kay first asked me to do this, she's like, hey, we're going to have an evening community meeting and we're going to have different presenters come in. You should come. And I was like, sure, that sounds great. And then after the fact, I found out I was presenting the same night as the port and the city. And so I was like, I guess I should probably make sure that my presentation's looking sharp so that I can compete. So I do want to point out, and I'll highlight a couple things as the presentation goes on. I did want to highlight that when I was updating this presentation for this presentation, I went through and found I updated all the photos to be photos of either Ridgefield police officers at PAL programs, or you'll see some other agencies highlighted in the presentation as well, but those agencies were all here running programs in the city of Ridgefield or at a Ridgefield school. So these photos are specific to your community. Next slide. So you might be wondering, what is the Police Activities League? Normally when people hear police activity, it doesn't generate warm, happy feelings, but I think this is the exception. So the Police Activities League, we're a local nonprofit that works to foster and facilitate positive relationships between law enforcement and youth. So everything that we do comes back to that core mission. We run a lot of different programs, and you'll get to hear about a handful of them tonight. And we do that because we have a vision that all youth here in Clark County should have the opportunity to positively engage with law enforcement. And so we partner here in the city of Ridgefield with the Ridgefield Police Department. Similar to Ethan, I also have one boss here, and that is Chief Doriot in the back. She's on our board of directors, and so we're very lucky to have her. So just for context, we partner here in Ridgefield, but we also we serve the whole county. So we partner with 8 law enforcement agencies total, Vancouver Police Department, Washington State Patrol, Clark County Sheriff's Office, and then all the smaller local cities, and working to grow our partnership with the Cowlitz Tribal Police as well. Next slide. All right, now I have a short 60-second video for you to just kind of give you a brief synopsis of what PAL is and why we do what we do.
PAL is a great organization because it brings police and youth together.
Because when you start with the kids, that's just laying the framework for all the other interactions we're going to have with the community.
PAL just gets kids involved and working with people that they might not normally come in contact with unless they're in a bad situation.
There is a special connection that the police can build right out there, whether it's through schools or events, if they go to basketball camps or soccer camps.
For me, PAL is like a reset of the mind, a reset of just being a human being.
It's nice to be, seen as the good guy, which is not always the case.
Those type of experiences kind of motivate you each day to come to work, interact with your community, and just do your thing with PAL.
If you can reach out to one kid and make one kid's life better, then it's worth it.
All right, next slide. All right, I'm going to highlight a couple of our different program opportunities. I'll warn you now, we have a lot of different program opportunities, all with the same goal of fostering those positive relationships and creating different opportunities. As you know, youth have lots of different interests, so we try to cover lots of different ways that we can engage youth with our law enforcement officers. So we kind of have a handful of major program categories, so that's really what I'm going to cover here. The first is our leadership and mentoring programs. So PAL has run a number of different mentoring style programs for many years. Our local chapter here in Southwest Washington has been around for 22 years now. So we've been around a while. We've been PAL of Southwest Washington. We started as PAL of Vancouver. We expanded to PAL of Southwest Washington in 2016. So going on 10 years as a PAL chapter serving the entire county. So that's exciting. But anyway, so our mentoring program, 3 years ago, we completely revamped the program. And so we brought together youth, law enforcement, representatives from school district, and then our staff who had experience running mentoring programs. And we said, how do we create a program that not only connects cops and kids in a positive way, but meets the needs of our time and meets the needs that our school districts are asking us to meet, but is also like relevant, interesting, and hopefully fun for the youth to actually attend so that they want to be there. We ran a pilot program at 2 local middle schools in Vancouver with that pilot program, and saw a lot of success. Pre and post survey data showed a 50% increase in youth identifying their trust in law enforcement after a program. And so for a pilot program to have a 50% increase in positive perceptions of law enforcement for an organization whose whole goal is to increase a positive perception of law enforcement among the youth, that was a success for us. And so we were really excited about that. So 2 years ago, we expanded to 4 area schools. We don't have one in Ridgefield currently, but it may be in the future. And so really excited about that program. Essentially, we bring in law enforcement mentors to local middle schools. They meet with the same group of 15 to 20 youth twice a month for the entire school year. And we run them through an evidence-based curriculum that's designed specifically for bringing cops and kids together in a mentorship capacity. Our education programs, these are some of our more popular or what I would say well-known programs, and we do have these in Ridgefield. So the first is what we call our literacy program, and that's essentially a school or second grade assembly. So we visit local elementary schools, and Southridge and Union Ridge are always both on our annual agenda of schools that we visit. And we basically do a 1-hour event with all the second graders, and we bring in law enforcement officers who come in and give a safety talk to the students. And then the students get to go and tour police vehicles and get badge stickers. The officers read a book to the students, and we provide every single student that attends with a free book that they get to take home with them. So that's really exciting, and I will say our literacy events that happen here in Ridgefield are always some of my favorite to attend because they're a little bit chaotic, because as you probably know, you have the most second graders out of all the elementary schools that we visit. I think it was like 140 to 150 is typically the number that we see. And so it's always a fun and rambunctious hour to be with the students and really rewarding. One of the other education programs that we have that is alive and well here in Ridgefield, I'm looking at Bridget Taylor right here, is what we call our PAL Patrol program. And if you have kids or grandkids, this is not to be confused with the very popular TV show Paw Patrol. I actually think PAL Patrol existed first, but essentially it's our adopted classroom program. So we pair up officers, deputies, and troopers with elementary school teachers all across the county, and they commit to adopting that classroom, which means that they will visit that classroom at least once a month for the entire school year. And every program looks a little bit different. It's really a strong partnership between the teacher and the officer. But typically the officer will come in, potentially talk to the students about safety, maybe read them a book, do some kind of activity with them, maybe join in the lesson for the day. But that same officer is coming in and making connections and relationships with those students throughout the entire school year. And so that has been a really popular program that has grown quite significantly Last year, I think we had over 30 classrooms across the county adopted, which is really significant because 3 or 4 years ago, we had like 4 or 5. And so it's really skyrocketed, and we currently have 5 classrooms just in the Ridgefield School District that are adopted, not just by Ridgefield police officers, but also by representatives from the Clark County Sheriff's Office and the Washington State Patrol as well. I will say, since Mary Kay brought it up, a couple of weeks ago, we were visited by a guy named Steve Cohen, who's the president and CEO of National PAL, which is the organization that is the umbrella organization that supports PAL chapters across the country. And so he came out to visit PAL of Southwest Washington for the very first time in our organization's entire history. And as part of that tour, I brought him here to Ridgefield, and he got to go and see our PAL Patrol program in action in Miss Taylor's classroom. And the national attention that Mary Kay was alluding to is that after visiting that program here in Ridgefield, he said, "Jesse, you have to promise me that we can work together to use this as a model to scale nationally." And so that's pretty exciting. Next slide. All right, we also run a number of different summer camp programs. A lot of them are sports-based, basketball, soccer, football, mixed martial arts, and then we have some teen-based summer camps as well, like a crime scene investigation camp that's hosted in Ridgefield, not in the city of Ridgefield, but it's at the Sheriff's Office, which is in Ridgefield, down by the fairgrounds. And then we also, for middle schoolers, we do an intro to CSI camp. It's a little bit more age-appropriate. High school CSI camp, the detectives get really creative and show kids some gnarly stuff. It's really exciting. And the middle schoolers get to solve the kidnapping of Princess Peach. But they're still learning about evidence techniques and different things like that. All of our summer camps are day camps during the summertime. They're $25 for the week with lunch included. And any kid family that requests a scholarship gets an automatic free scholarship, and about 50% of the students that attend are on a full scholarship. And if you have kids or grandkids that you've tried to sign up for summer camps anywhere in the county, you'll know that even at $25 a week, we're the cheapest in the county by far. And then our athletic programs. Athletics are part of PAL, not just here locally, but PAL started as the Police Athletic League and has a long history with boxing, actually. We do have an active boxing program that currently serves about 12 at-risk middle schoolers and high schoolers. Muhammad Ali started his boxing career in a PAL boxing gym, if you didn't know that. So there's a lot of history with that. PAL is very well known nationally and internationally for boxing. And then we also run currently for the Evergreen and Vancouver School District an elementary sports program that is basically a basketball league during the winter, and during the springtime it's a soccer league that's completely free for the students to participate in. So again, if you're familiar with youth activities, organized sports are getting more and more expensive and really pricing a lot of families out of having those pro-social interaction and activities for their kids. And so we're looking at how we can continue to grow and scale our athletic programs to serve more students around the county. And then I had mentioned before the price of our summer camps. Summer camps are currently the only program that we offer that has any sort of registration fee. All of our other programs that you've heard me talk about or that you might be familiar with, we offer completely free of charge for families to participate in. This picture right here is from our soccer camp, and I wanted to highlight it specifically. So that's Officer Arazo here from Ridgefield Police Department. And these students didn't realize at first that Officer Arazo could understand them when they were speaking Spanish at camp. And when they did realize that, the 4 of them were basically glued to his side the entire time. And so this was a really cool experience where some of our students that we were serving got to interact and be mentored by a police officer that looked like them, that looked like their parents and their relatives, and spoke like them too. And so that was a really cool experience, and it's connected right here to Ridgefield. Next slide. All right, I'm not going to go through all of these bullet points, but this is a little bit of a recap of the impact that we had countywide last year. I'll go through what I think are some of the most impressive numbers, which is that first we served over 11,000 youth across all of Clark County last year, connecting them in a positive way with local law enforcement. That number is going to be even more impressive to you when I tell you that we currently have 4 FTE, 4 full-time employees. That's it. And so we really rely on our volunteers in order to run the programs that we run. And speaking of volunteers, we had over 207 sworn law enforcement volunteers volunteer time in our programs last year from the 8 agencies we represent. For those of you that might not be familiar, that's a really big number. That's a number that's larger than most law enforcement agencies in our community have as sworn officers in general, right? So we're using that collective impact in order to reach more kids. And in totality, they donated over 1,300 hours of volunteer time into our programs. And the reason I call it volunteer time, even though most of the time the officers are working when they do come out to participate, is that officers are never required to attend PAL programs. So there's no mandatory overtime or a sergeant saying, you have to go to this even if you don't want to. And so what that means is the officers that come out to our programs and interact with our kids want to be there. And that makes a really big difference in the types of interactions that they're able to have with the kids that we serve. Next slide. All right, I did pull some specific information on how we are showing up right here in Ridgefield, because I figured you guys might be interested in hearing that. So I mentioned earlier that we have 5 classrooms adopted between Union Ridge and South Ridge in our PAL Patrol program. We visit both of those elementary schools every year with our literacy program. And then we show up in a lot of other ways for Ridgefield as well. We have our Safety City field trip, which is a field trip for first graders at the Washington State Patrol building down in Vancouver. Last year we served over 1,100 first graders at our Safety City field trip. It's coming up at the end of April, and this year we're on track to serve over 1,500 first graders in a 3-day period. So that's a lot of first graders coming to the Washington State Patrol building and rotating essentially through 6 or 7 different safety stations, from 911 versus 311 with crested dispatchers to working with the Fish and Wildlife Police to learn about water safety and everything else that you can think of. National Night Out, we're always there with a tent. 4th of July parade, where we bring our PAL van and drive through the parade with the police department. We just attended Medical Day, which is something we've attended multiple years in a row with the Ridgefield School District. Careers on Wheels with the Ridgefield School District. We also bring law enforcement officers out to that. Healthy Kids Day with the Y. We hosted Popsicles with PAL in partnership with the Y when they pop up in the park during the summertime to do the free lunches. We came out one of those times, brought all of our law enforcement friends and a bunch of Otter Pops. And so that was a way that we were continuing to, we were brainstorming, how do we show up in some of the smaller cities that we serve on a more consistent basis, especially when, we can't run all of our programs out of Ridgefield, but how can we make sure that Ridgefield is getting their fair share of the love of PAL programs? And that was one of them. And so that was super successful, so we're excited to bring that back this summer. And probably the most important event that we attend anywhere in the county all year long is Main Street Day here in Ridgefield. I included this photo, even though there's no kids in it, because one, it makes me smile to see all the smiles on the officers' faces that are participating in PAL programs, but two, I think it highlights a really important partnership that we have. So Ridgefield is a growing city. And a growing city has high expectations for the amount of community engagement that their law enforcement agency can provide to their city. But there's only so many police officers, right? And their number one duty is responding to 911 calls. And so we leverage our partnership with other law enforcement agencies that also show up here in the city of Ridgefield and that the students here and the residents here interact with on a regular basis, being the Washington State Patrol and the Clark County Sheriff's Office to also provide those community engagement opportunities for the citizens here in Ridgefield. So this is from one of our literacy events at a Ridgefield Elementary School, and you can see that we have representatives from the Sheriff's Office, State Patrol, and Ridgefield Police Department all coming together to collaborate and interact, just like they would collaborate and interact to solve a crime or respond to a major incident. We're bringing them together to collaborate and interact in how they engage with their communities. Next slide. All right, so just like the port or the city, we also have a strategic plan, and we have essentially a 5-year vision of how we hope to implement our mission in order to achieve our vision. We think that all youth in Clark County should have the opportunity to positively engage with law enforcement, and we're working to make it happen. In order to make that happen, we have to be able to grow and scale our programs to serve all of the county. And so that's something we're really excited about. We've identified 4 major priority areas: capacity building, financial stability, community engagement, law enforcement engagement. And then we're guided by our organizational values, which are trust, relationships, responsiveness, partnership, and of course, because we work with kids, fun. Next slide. This is our board of directors and the patches of all the agencies that we partner with. I will note 2 things for our board of directors list. You might recognize some of the names on there. First is that all the names in dark blue are active or retired law enforcement. So it's really important for us as an organization, even though we're a community-based organization, we want active law enforcement officers on our board of directors so that they can continue to help us inform our programs. And Chief Doriot is also on our board of directors, and we're really happy about that. Next slide. Okay, I have a very special video to share with all of you that we created at the end of last year that highlights the program that National PAL wants to take national and highlights a really special story right here from Ridgefield. So I thought this was the perfect opportunity to share that.
I think that PAL has been exceptional for us because everybody that's an officer, they have families, they have kids of their own, they are good humans, and so it lets the community see the softer side of them many times. They get to see that they're silly. You know, for example, Tyler King. He walks in that classroom, he's goofy, he's silly. He is a perfect person for a kid to engage with to then know that's a police officer. That's what a police officer is like.
PAL Patrol it's an Adopt a Classroom program that we run. So essentially what it looks like is a member of law enforcement, they team up with a teacher from anywhere in Clark County, and they meet once a month for an hour. And there's some that go more than once, and it's usually Tyler who shows up 3 or 4 times a month.
I don't have to ask him to go. Most of the time he's got stuff already scheduled and he's in the classrooms and I don't even know he's in the classrooms.
He's very genuine and sincere, and he comes in and he really gets to know all the kids really well. He's been in our classroom for 5 years.
I am Detective King with the Ridgefield Police Department. What I do with PAL right now, anything Matt says. And then also I work in a first grade classroom once a month for the last, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Oh man, with PAL, it's been really nice because for me, it's that extra connection that isn't something that we're called to, right? It's like, it's a way to connect on all of our terms. It's a relief every month. I get to go and be recharged by a bunch of kids that are super excited just for me to read a super silly story. Yeah, it's just a good recharge.
It's just a genuine connection that he's made with these kids. And I think the other thing that makes it special is that the year he came, it authentically happened through meeting a student when he was working.
I had a call where I connected with a family and a kid who was in Miss Taylor's class.
I had a student in my classroom kept falling asleep. Tyler had been running these calls and had found Zach in a park one night and ended up at the house and ended up with Zach and had found out that Zach needed to be removed from his home and Zach ended up in foster care.
What he had to deal with on a daily basis for being, just a little first grader was hard to grasp, I guess. And so then I would continue to follow up with him in her class.
He wouldn't just focus on Zach, though. He would make sure that all the kids felt special. But he was Zach's special friend, too, at the same time. So Zach felt really cool because he had this community friend.
Yeah, I would do anything for Zach. I mean, for anyone, really. But I just remember thinking, like, this kid he's just so special. He deserves better. And, so I just wanted to make sure I stuck with him at least through either the year and as long as I possibly could. So.
And then COVID hit, and Tyler was there that day, and we all went online. And Tyler could have decided to just stop communicating and just talk to just Zach, but he didn't. He kept showing up. He read to the kids online from his car. Chief Dory read from the car too. They read Elephant and Piggy books together, Green Eggs and Ham together. He just always shows up.
Hey Detective King, I really wanted to say thank you for being there when I needed you the most, and I really wanted to say good job on winning that award. You deserve it. I liked when we did Shop with a Cop, and I hope we see each other again soon. Bye, Detective King.
Definitely in the situation with Zach, he saw a kid that needed somebody to advocate for him, and Tyler jumped in both feet, 100%. He was going to make sure that Zach was going to be cared for, that was going to be in a safe place with people that loved him. And that's exactly what I know this community of Ridgefield wants in their officers, and it's absolutely what I'm looking for when I hire people.
I think that when a child, as they grow up, regardless of their background or socioeconomic or wherever they've come from, will always look back at this opportunity that they had in first grade with Detective King and remember it. And they'll remember their time that they've spent with him.
Grew up in a law enforcement house. My dad was a cop my entire life. He had 38 years in. It's hard, and there's a lot of things that we see and deal with that are not awesome. Unfortunately, a lot of times we only ever see the bad things, and we don't get to see the follow-up of, some of the good things that happen after the fact.
We have a lot of opportunity to impact people in very positive ways if we take the time and we do that. Tyler is the king of doing that.
One of my things that I think is a superpower for him is the fact that he's just so present. He meets you at that level. So whenever we go to PAL patrols together, he leaves all that stuff at the door, all the stuff from work at the door, and he's just like, I'm here for you. He does that everywhere.
And the interesting thing here is that he's now been here long enough that he has walked with those kids as they've grown and as they've aged. And some of the kids that he dealt with in classrooms, they're now teenagers. And we may have a situation where we get a call that involves one of them, and he's already got that knowledge about him. He has that relationship.
I don't want these kids to only ever see us on not great days. We want to be there on good days too. We want them to know that we're here to support them, encourage them all through life, and we'll always come help them no matter what, whatever the problem is. And so having those good interactions, I think, early are super helpful moving through life,
I don't really know if we can gauge the impact actually, because there's so many kids that it ripples into the community. And so it goes on and on and on.
One good action, one good experience will then ripple through those kids' lives, and those will ripple and ripple and ripple and pass down to other people. So that's the short answer, right, is the global impact, I guess you can even say. Like, the local impact, yes, but we don't know where these kids are going to go in their lives, but they're going to remember Tyler King. They're going to remember going to Miss Taylor's classroom, and they're going to remember those experiences that they had.
Well, if you want to embarrass Tyler next time you see him in the community, just tell him that you saw his video. Last but not least, get involved. We will be at Main Street Days or Get Involved Ridgefield event next weekend, so you can come see me there and talk about volunteer opportunities or other ways that you can get involved with our work at PAL. And I know all of you are probably RSVP'd to attend the City Council meeting next week on Thursday. But if you happen to not be at the City Council meeting, we are hosting a super fun fundraiser on the Vancouver waterfront called CSI Happy Hour, and there are still tickets available. So, you should all be good citizens and attend the City Council meeting.
And you will be at Get Involved Ridgefield.
I will be at Get Involved Ridgefield. All right, I'm going to pass it off back to Mary Kay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Jesse. Okay, Mayor Matt Cole is here. Oh, forgot my
I have a
glasses.
question really quick.
Oh, yes.
Where do you get your funding from?
Through donations.
That's it?
We have a couple of major fundraisers. We have the one next week, and then we have an event, a gala fundraiser in October every year. And then we write for some like smaller grants from local community foundations. But like we don't receive city, local, state funding. Nothing. So in order to do the work that we do, we need all of you to help spread the good word about what we do, raise awareness, and if you're able to and willing, donate some money too. Thank you.
Great organization. Thank you again, Jesse. Appreciate it. Last but not least, Mayor Matt Cole is here. We have a packed program this time. It's great. We will be back on June 18th as our next evening community meeting. Welcome.
Welcome. How are you?
You're up.
All right.
Thank you.
I gotta go after them. Woo! That's good stuff. How's everyone doing? Are you guys getting a lot of good information and stuff? Okay, good. I want to before we do anything, I always like to do some acknowledgments. Every time somebody gives you a microphone, you want to make sure to just pay respect to the people who make things happen. And first and foremost, to Ridgefield Main Street, the work that they're doing in this community. I think it's really notable, and here in downtown and what they're invested in, how they're really invested in this community. So really just proud of that. We have several members of our city council here tonight, and I always like to acknowledge them. This is our ride or die, our crew that we do with, and we're a really tight bunch. We have Megan Hamilton's here from city council. Clyde Burkle and Judy Shipman are back here as well. I love working with these people. I really do. It's really fun. Week after week, we get to do some really cool work together, and then we get to see the fruits of it to all of your benefits. So it really means a lot to me. Also, Scott, is Scott still here?
He's back and forth.
Okay, yeah, of Nest. He did all the catering tonight. He catered an event a couple nights ago. I'm sure you guys all know Scott and his food truck, but man, it's so good. I'm a foodie. I love food, and they always serve it up really nice, and they go the distance and stuff. So really proud of them. And then also Erling and Seasons Coffee and the Old Liberty Theater. Thank you for hosting. Isn't this a great place? I was talking to some people before this, and they're like, "I've never been here before." I'm like, "Wow, anytime you can come here, this has got so much character." And this is the type of building when you think of downtown Ridgefield. This is what I think of is the character, the charm, the things that there's kind of historic, right? And so I love it that we have this place, and this is a great place to do that. So great. I also want to take a moment to just recognize somebody else. This is if you were at the State of the City a couple of nights ago, thank you so much for attending. Our council was there. We presented an update about what's happening in our city, and we kicked off our RISE initiative, which is what we're going to talk about tonight. And it's always a really big deal because when you look at all the growth that we're going through in our city, and there's definitely a lot of growth in this city over the past few years. I think it's 210% in the last 15 years. We grew 62% since the pandemic. So there's a lot of growth, and it takes a lot of thoughtful management. And you can't do that and this is what I was saying the other night. You cannot grow a city this fast by just doing urban planning and all of the zoning and all of the city stuff alone. You can't do it. What you get is brick and mortar, and you might have some really nice streetscapes, you might have some nice sidewalks, but you won't have the things that we talk about. We talk about charm and character and quaint and Mayberry, and we use these terms, right? But those are the byproducts of the people in the community who invest in our city. And that's really important, because I talk to people every single day who love where they live. They are thrilled to be residents of Ridgefield, and man, they're invested. And I'm just looking around here, like people nodding, like all these people, I get kind of like, I get chills, because you guys are doing some amazing work, right? And you know, for Main Street's been around for about 10 years now, is that right, Mary Kay? And 10 sort of the magic number right now, because 10 years ago Main Street started. 10 years ago was our last comprehensive plan update with the city. We do that every 10 years. It's a big deal. It takes us a couple years to get through it. We're in the middle of it right now, finishing it, like hopefully finishing it up. And 10 years ago was also the last time that we did a downtown sub-area plan. So there's a lot of 10s going on, right? Also, there's somebody who's been here for 10 years who's really been embracing the heart of downtown, the heart of our city, and has really spearheaded it. And Main Street has done so much to contribute to what we do here. And so we wouldn't be where we are today. Main Street wouldn't be where it is today if it wasn't for Mary Kay. So I have a thing, this is a thing I started this year, and I handed out a couple the other night. So I have these coins, and so I have a military background, and we always did these coins, and you know, the police and public safety do it as well. And so I said, hey, you know what? I want to do a coin. So they whipped up this little coin for me. So Mary Kay, I have a coin for you, just because of all the work that you've done over the last 10 years. We're so blessed to have you. Okay. All right. Enough with the feels, all right? Stop. I had to watch that Tyler King video and then come up here and... Yeesh. Every time, right? Oh, man. So we're going to talk about downtown a little bit more tonight. And if we have enough time, I know that we're kind of getting there, but I do want to give a chance for you guys to ask some questions about downtown, but really about anything going on in the city, because there's always something happening. We're a very busy city, and there's always things happening. So if you have questions later on, then please ask about anything. But we're going to talk about downtown. And really, if you were at the State of the City, you're getting kind of a part two, right? And the central theme of that was that our city continues to grow. And it's growing still at a rate almost faster than anywhere else in Washington State. I tell a story, and often when I first got on council, we do these like conferences every year. And you go and you're with other city councilors and other mayors and other city governments, and you get that chance to talk about what's going on in your city. And at this one, we were having a lunch session, and you kind of intermingle, and there's a couple of members of the Seattle City Council who came and sat at a table, and then we were introducing each other, and I said, yeah, I'm with the Ridgefield City Council. And I was like, really? Okay, can we ask you a question? How are you guys managing your growth? I'm like, what? Seattle's asking little old Ridgefield how we're managing our growth? But the point is that stands out. There's something to that when you have a really exceptionally well-designed city. But as I said before, the way we do it is through just our people and the effort that we make. And so we're nothing without the community that we do it, but we are very thoughtful in how we do it. But we're at this point because we're at that 10-year mark where we're updating all these things, and we're celebrating some landmarks and some achievements and stuff. But we're asking ourselves, like, what do we want from our downtown? What do we want our city to look like, not just now, but 20 years from now? Do we want to just adapt and just adapt and roll with the punches and grow just because the city's growing? Or do we want to do it thoughtfully and intentionally and think about what we want our city to look like? What are the attributes that we need here? What are you as residents? What brings you here, and what keeps you here? What keeps you connected to your community? Those are the questions that we're asking a lot of right now on our city council. They're the things that we're looking at as we do our comprehensive plan update. Everywhere we go, I just did this yesterday to the county council. We have to kind of reconcile our plans. And what I've been saying for over a year, every time I go and talk to them, because they want to make it a spreadsheet exercise, and I tell them every time, I said, you know what, our city, we've done our efforts to grow, but we've done it because we have a community vision. It's not our council's vision, it's not our city manager's vision, it's not just mine, it is a community effort, and that's what it has to be. So as we're doing this, as we're thinking about downtown, the question is, what do we want to be? What do we aspire for that to be? And RISE, the RISE program, is really that opportunity for us to shape it. And it's an exciting proposition. Last year we did this wave initiative. It was talking about being welcoming and available, visible and engaging, and we did a bunch of these outreach things, and it felt really good. And it was such a great chance for us to connect with everybody. And so this is taking that component of it and then adding some master planning on top of it, some of the good stuff, right? And so that's what it's about. So RISE is really kind of started out, the history there goes back a couple of years. Well, I mean, again, 10 years ago we had this sub-area plan and we were doing this, but a couple of years ago, we go into our budget season, usually about every spring, like around April, May-ish is when it kind of kicks off. And then we do a bunch of exercises. That's kind of largely what our council focuses on from May through the end of the year. So it's a good chunk of our time. And we knew with all of that residential growth that we've had over the last few years, that it was eventually going to taper off a little bit. There's my phone again. It was eventually going to taper off. And as a result, when you're a local government, you look at things and you say, okay, you kind of balance that, but there's also some financial impacts to that too. We knew as a city that it was going to mean that maybe some of the revenues we see from all of that development is going to taper off too. And thoughtfully, we were having questions about, what are we going to plan for next? And we knew that we're going to, with all of the houses, all the people coming here, we needed services. We needed commercial developments to help foster that growth and to kind of keep it in check. We needed those services all over the city. And so what you see now is you still have the downtown core, but we have other areas called what we call commercial neighborhood business zones. So that is like Pioneer Village, up kind of like where Starbucks and Arcana and 8 Cow, all of that is up there, right? And soon to be Mahoney's and Cheeky Noodles and stuff off of Hillhurst. That's another commercial neighborhood one. And then you get further closer to the freeway, and it's called regional commercial businesses. So those are like the big businesses. Those are the stuff that actually, candidly, that's the kind of stuff that people love and they hate. Right, because it means like, what happened to our city? What was the city that had the one blinking stoplight, and now we have a freaking Costco and an In-N-Out? But those are necessary, and those are designed to be at that area because what that is attracting is people coming in regionally. Costco, In-N-Out, people are coming from all over for that, and that was important because we knew that we had to replace a lot of that commercial development with or residential development with commercial development to replace that tax base. And so to do that transition was going to be about, our finance department told us is going to be about a 2 to 3 year dip in city revenue. And then we're going to have to then we be back online. And so we're just kind of coming out of that dip. I think this will be like the last year. As a result of that, we were looking at the budget a couple years ago, and we had a bunch of stuff that was like below the red line. We said, okay, here's a line. This is the stuff that we're going to have a hard time funding. And one of those was this item. At the time, is for downtown street lighting, and we had this discussion about it at our council retreat. And during our budget process, we're like, well, maybe this should just kind of fall below the line. And if we can get a grant for it, great. But it's not going to happen this year. So that happened, and we said, okay, we'll move on. But then you started noticing like, well, dang, downtown's really dark, and we need to, and there's something that needs to be done with this. And so going into last year's budget season, it became apparent that, hey, we need to resurrect this. There needs to be something done here. And we began looking around the city, and we had done this sub-area plan a couple of years ago. So part of that, we looked at it and we said, hey, a lot of that stuff is kind of getting done. The Park Laundry site, that's just right over here, $2 million. Ethan was talking about $90 million and remediation down at the waterfront. We did $2 million just there last year. If you guys remember, it was all fenced off, and they dug way down and took all that dirt out. They replaced it. That was because it was contaminated ground from a laundry site. I kind of think maybe for a while we just loved chemicals in Ridgefield, and we were just kind of just spraying them everywhere. I'm not sure, but we had to remediate that. And so what you see there is an empty lot. Right next to it is where the old police station is. Our council made the decision and said, hey, that was never supposed to be a long-term building. It stayed way longer than we ever thought it was. And so we thought this would be better served in a future use We tore it down a couple of years ago. So what you got right there is really what I consider a blank canvas. It's exciting though. You get a blank canvas, you imagine what it's going to be like. And then there's things like the rail overpassers going down here, or the new library. Those are all things that were part of that original sub-area plan that we got done. And so as we're going into the budget season, I thought, you know what, this is more than just street lighting. This is sidewalks, this is street improvements, this is frontage, this is what we want our city to look like over the coming years. And so thus, the RISE plan was really kind of born out of that thought process of hey, we've done these things, we're kind of coming out of this dip. Now let's think about what is the heart of our city. We have a series of 7 council goals. Our second goal on council always, so everything that we look at, we kind of apply these goals to it. One is just to take care of downtown. That's what we have to do. So we thought we have to invest in this. So council was enthusiastic about it. We unanimously supported it. And so this year is the year that we start looking at what RISE is. So that's what it's about. So just another anecdote too, a few years ago, because we were talking about the port, we went with the Port Commission, our city council did, and we went and we visited these different waterfronts. We went to Kaminista-Washougal, then we went to Vancouver, then we rolled up to Kalama. And every single one of those, I was really surprised, and I use this every day. Every single one of those port directors there said, hey, if you guys are considering doing a waterfront, then you got to go big or go home. You have to have a big vision for it. It has to be, because you will regret it if you do not. It's too valuable, there's too much community benefit to it, and if you do not, then you're going to look back in 20 years and be like, well, we should have done that better or bigger or whatever. So that's been something that I think that we've taken to heart too. So I thought, well, if we're going to go big or go home, then we got to do more than just streetlights. We have to look at our downtown. So that's where we're at. So RISE has some different components to it. First is just revitalize. Now that's a careful word, because I don't want to ever imply that there's something wrong with our downtown. I love our city. I love the way it is right now. But right? If you can love your backyard, but if you don't mow your yard or weed or anything like that, then it's going to kind of, it's not going to be as beautiful as it once was. And so we need to take care of our downtown. So it's all about revitalization. How do we continue to put the energy and the thoughtfulness into what we are, and then expand and just grow? And the people here now are maybe, there's a lot of new people here now, and so it's different from a generation ago, so there's new ideas, there's new contributions. I'll just talk about the Neighborhood Refuge for a second. That's an example. I love seeing all the old-timey photos. There's that old church in every single old photo, and it's just so cool to see the redemptive space, or the hardware store, where we love that we had 114 years of a hardware store where you can run down and get a box of nails on a Sunday afternoon when everything else is closed and you didn't want to go all the way down to Home Depot because that's too expensive anyways. So you wanted to use the hardware store, but then that's gone. And we thought, well, what's going to be next there? And I think there's a period where everyone was kind of like, well, that was kind of a loss. But it's not, because now we have the floral shop, and now we have Toys on Main, and now we have the Sputter store that's all in there. It's so redeemed just to see these spaces that we've had over time get repurposed and revitalized. So that's what it's about. Second is about investment. Definitely about public investment. There's going to be a whole lot of public investment. You've heard already stories about the downtown and the waterfront, $90 million for remediation at the waterfront, $2 million for park laundry, and then street lights and sidewalks, and we look at parking and all that stuff like that. There's public investment. But more than public investment, we need private investment. We need the business owner. We need somebody with a dream, with an idea, with something that they can come with and add their contribution to what the city looks like. So that and the RISE is about making an investment in what we do. Sustainability is the next one. So it's not just a one-year project. Oftentimes our council initiatives are just 1 year, but this will be something I think that we do for over the next few years. I think we initially sketched in maybe 5 years. It'll be a really concentrated effort this year, but I see this going into the next few years because we're going to need to pull in that public and private investment. We're going to need to pull in some of those revitalization efforts and go through the planning process to identify that. But it's really about sustaining the vision for the long term, because downtown's not going away. It better not. But it's not going away, and it needs to remain a core part of this community in perpetuity. So, and then lastly is enhancement. So that's talking about things like better infrastructure, things like better sidewalks, better walkability, a bigger sense of place. those are the types of things that we need as well. Like all those things, you look, and you can start seeing it, seeing everything as you look around. You're like, yeah, we can do that. There's the other ways we can do that. We have our garden club who talks all the time about wanting to add native plants. They did it at Davis Park, and they want to do it in more places to make it beautiful and friendly and open and feel like the town's flourishing. That's what you wanted us out of a downtown. So that's the rise component. But it's really important to remember that as we're doing that, is that we're just getting started. And there's a whole lot of details that we have to work out. Chief of which is that dang old comprehensive plan, which is now kind of slipping into the later this year. So as this year continues, we're going to be going through the process to figure out what are all like the actual technical pieces that we need to do, identify the specific infrastructure, identify the financing that needs to come into play for that. All of those things are going to happen, but we're just getting started right now. But that's the initial vision, right? And that's how we can all work together to find out what downtown should look like. So let's talk a little bit at a higher level about maybe some of those specific, like potential specifics of what that could do. We can paint a picture for you. So again, sub-area plan, last updated in 2016, and our town has changed enormously since then. So again, looking at infrastructure improvements, right? One of my favorite things, I remember a couple of years ago when there was the mural that's right across the street right here. And Cassie did it, and we had like a little ceremony to do it. And there's like this like little pathway that goes back to the Ridgefield wine bar right there, and it'll kind of like bend around and go to Otis Alley. And I thought, well, that's kind of cool. A couple of years ago, I was on a business trip for my day job, whatever that is, and I went to London, and I was walking around London, and there was these alleyways, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And it had like a public street sign, where they put them on the side of the walls, but it was pedestrian only. And there was like they had like these string lights and these cobblestone streets, and it was really cool. And I thought, this is really cool for a city to do that. I'd never seen something like this before, pedestrian only streets. And it made me think about how much we depend on cars in America to do everything. You have to have a car to go literally anywhere, and that's cool. Like you got to do that. I have to drive just to go to to Costco or even to come downtown often. But what if you designed your city that was actually more walkable? That you made it a place where people wanted to go from A to B by walking to it. And the way you can do that is create pedestrian-friendlier corridors. So things like that. We're looking at things like that. Parking and circulation. Last year, our council looked at parking for downtown. You'll start seeing that come into play this year, but we have a lot more to do. And a lot of that's, we're kind of waiting for a traffic study that's going to happen at the waterfront, and they're going to hopefully do a downtown traffic study, and it might mean more roundabouts. I don't know, maybe 3. We'll see. But I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. We love our roundabouts. But things like that, or making our streets more ADA accessible and able to accommodate the kind of vehicle traffic that doesn't feel like it's imposing or encroaching on you trying to just enjoy an afternoon downtown. So, and then making it versatile, right? Looking at ways like we do First Saturdays, which again, another day, if I can plug it enough. First Saturdays are also great here because they do the farmers market, or we do there's usually something going on there. But how do you make our downtown more versatile to maybe facilitate traffic on the day-to-day, but when you have a First Saturday or another event, how do you make it more festival ready, right? And there's a lot of people who want to do things like that here. And then also there's a business recruitment portion of it. This is why I think that having our partnerships are so essential. We need groups like Main Street doing that heavy lifting for us, talking to businesses, talking to people who are looking for a place to put a brick and mortar shop. In the last year alone, we had 20 new businesses open up downtown alone. 20, I can't believe that number, just because you don't see it every day, but like 20 businesses. That shows that downtown is really ripe for investment, and we want stuff like that. So we need our partnerships to do the community investment component of it. Recruit those businesses and make sure that they're coming here and we're getting the right kind of businesses that we want here. And the good kind of partners. So things like boutique retail or more cultural venues, like things like art galleries or cultural spaces or historical markers or something like that. And then also places where just people want to just gather, because that's what it's about, right? You want people to be a part of the community, and the way you do that is having places for them to come and gather at. So. And then also, this is a part of our comprehensive plan, but it's also going to be folded into RISE, is just a historical component. We had when we go through this process, it's this huge process. And it's taken us, I think, what are we on, like year 2.5 we're going on of doing this. And so this last summer, we were getting into presentation, and what happens is they'll say, here's the goal, like you're trying to achieve the goal, and here's the policies that council assigns to those goals to hit those goals. And one of the policies, it was just kind of a bullet item, was just preserve our history, to tell our story, to make sure that we're preserving landmarks and making sure that those are available for people to experience. And our entire council, again, this just speaks to sort of I think the cohesion that we have, is our entire council was like, no, this needs to be its own thing. This needs to be its own goal. And so we, just a couple months ago, we got together and we went through all of that, and there's now several goals that are applying to the history, the artwork, all of that, to tell stories, to make sure that places like this, people know where this came from and why it's significant to us, why it's important to the heart of Ridgefield. So that's another part of it. So as I said just the other night, the next 5 years are going to define for us the next 20. And that's an exciting proposition, but it means there's big work ahead. It means that we need people to go there with us. We need to hear the feedback. We need people to take the lead. We need people who are going to make the investment with us and what our downtown looks like. So that community contribution is huge, right? You don't do 20 new businesses and 40 events over the last year, just downtown alone, because people aren't interested in it. So there's clearly an appetite for it, and that's where we're going, and we want to go there with you. So that's at a high level what RISE is about. That is what we're going to be working on, and I'm just really excited for the next steps, because this is the kind of thing that really helps define a sense of place. It helps define, what the vitality and the livelihood is for both now and generations to come. So I know we're coming up on time. I don't want to go too long, but I do want to open it up for maybe some Q&A. And if nobody's got any questions, that's okay. I'll call on you. I have some questions for you. So I can do that too. So, but is there any questions about RISE, about downtown, about the state of the city, or even just about anything else going on?
I have a random question.
Yes, ma'am.
That brick house that's like on the corner over
Yeah.
near Costco, what is happening? What is that? What is it?
Yeah, so that's a house. So it actually it wasn't essential to the Pioneer Widening project that we did this last year. So you saw there was a couple of other houses that had to be we had to kind of they were condemned, and we took down as a result of that. That one didn't really affect it, and so we just kind of left it. But it also kind of a funky look right now, right? It's like the owners, I don't think, live locally, and so I think that the city's reached out and said, hey, do you have any plans for this? What are you going to do? But as of right now, it's a private residence still, and we're hoping that something will happen for it. But for right now, it's kind of hanging out. So there we go. Is it a U-Haul house? I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard different things. So
It was a real estate office.
was it really? Yeah. What else? Other questions? Yeah.
When are the sidewalks, and what's the timing on?
So that'll be part of that's the part that's really tied into our comprehensive plan updates. So there's a whole lot of that master planning. So once we started going through the actual master planning process, I think we have, I'm looking at my fellow counselors, we had something in the budget this year for a little bit of sidewalk improvement. Yes. Yes. Yeah. But the whole mamma jamma, I think it'll probably be next year at the earliest. Yeah. What else? That wasn't bold. That was easy.
I have another random question. So the light bulbs are turning purple or blue?
Yeah.
What is that?
So Clark PUD maintains those. When you see them start to turn, I thought it was really cool. I just thought we were kind of going like Cosmo Ridgefield or something. And I was like, yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah. They what happens is when they get old, they're dying, and so they kind of start turning different colors. And so it's not mood lighting, it's not for date night. It's for
it's gone up there and switched them.
Yeah, they're all turning at the same time because they were all installed at the same time. So at some point, I think Clark PD will have to come out and then turn the light bulb.
I thought maybe it was like a bird mitigation.
Yeah. No. What else? Sherry.
Yeah. So the waterfront, getting down there, the access to the waterfront, what's the plan for that once that's all built up? Because there's pretty much one way in and
Yes, there is, and geography is sort of kind of at play there, right? And so like that's always the big thing. That was again that rail overpass, that big new beautiful one that you kind of like if you longboard down if you're a kid. That was a result of a few years ago. That was a really big project. And then the other side of it is it Mill or Division right there where it was closed off. We had to make a deal with Burlington Northern that we would kind of close that off, and it's only open to emergency access right now. We are looking at, as a part of the waterfront project, is a pedestrian bridge that will go over the top. Again, more walkable zones, because why not? We need more of those, but that's what that would be eventually. But for actual vehicle traffic, it'll probably continue to be via Pioneer. Yeah. Other questions?
Part of the statement, I moved here from Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin, and Denver, Colorado, and two cities that have done really well with multi-use tags and connecting many points in the city.
Yes,
So,
it is.
because I love to cycle, be on my bike, but I won't do it here.
Denver's a great example. There's some really cool neighborhoods in Denver. Yes, 100%. I agree with you. Fantastic planning there. Yes.
I noticed on Pioneer, they're doing a lot of spraying for utilities and stuff. Where would we get information on what projects happening or why they're doing that?
Yeah, they're marking the road up.
Up at Pioneer. Like what part of Pioneer? Because I could tell, that would tell me.
Town.
Yeah.
Seems like it goes from, I guess, Maine up.
Yeah, I know we have some projects. I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about, but we're looking at other, like, not by 35th, not like out of downtown, right?
No, downtown. There's
Okay.
markings all over the road.
Oh, yeah. I know that we're looking at probably some water mains. So the city is actually investing $19 million this year in water infrastructure. So it could be related to that because we had a main break last year. So it might be related to that, but I'm not totally sure. Yeah. We got time for probably a couple more questions because I know we're getting late in the evening. Anybody else? Yes.
Well, it's probably getting more to comments.
Yeah.
So one, I would love to see more restaurants in Ridgefield, like a sit down where you can get like some meat and some vegetables, not burgers and wings. We have plenty of Burger Kings. So I would love to see more of that. I don't know how easy that is to do. And two, I don't find it easy in this town to figure out where the trails are.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel that they're connected. So I know that each, area has to reserve 25%. And there's walking in the port and there's walking in the refuge. But as I can't figure out, like, where does it all connect? That I can start on a trail and walk for, a couple miles or something.
Yeah, you're right. There are some, I will say, and this is not a good enough answer, but there's definitely like a bunch of detailed maps on our website. And also, is it the app, is it Strava or All Trails? There's one of those, there's an app that we did this summer, my family, we're trying to walk every trail and we did that too, but they're on there as well. But you're right. And we have talked about that as part of our multimodal connectivity effort through our comp plan as well, like making sure we're better marking them. And that's been something that we've been talking about for a while. So I think you'll start to see that over time.
Well, they're all just like little short trails.
What?
The pros plan.
Oh yeah, in the pros plan, yes. What does it stand for again?
Parks and Recreation Open Space.
Yes. So there's a national plan too that we're going to make some investments into our trails and stuff through a federal program. Yeah.
That study to connect everything and then get one.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be good if they got connected.
Yeah.
Yeah. Will there ever be a plan for a sidewalk from up where Roseanne is to downtown?
So what I was told originally, because I'd asked that question, I think when I first got on council, and I was told like about 35th, or like when you get like Kemper Grove right there, where it kind of starts to get really windy. Yeah. Probably like not in the immediate term, just because it is just not set up for that. And so what we're really leaning into instead of having sidewalks alongside the road is trail connectivity. So full circle on that one, but that's kind of the plan right now, I think. Now we're also looking at the 35th Avenue extension, which would connect us to the plateau. There's been some community conversations. There was one last week on that as well, where we're talking about from that roundabout right there, or where you go on the Bird Singer, doing another roundabout or something that would like connect to the heights up there. So that's another way too. So when we do that, that could probably bring in some more multimodal connectivity, I guess, right there as well. But nothing like you'll see kind of up by Pioneer Village. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be great if they could
Yeah.
come all the way down, so that
Mhm.
the break, people are either up there walking, they're downtown.
Totally. Yeah. I feel that too. Yeah. Maybe two more.
I really love the sculptures that go in our new roundabout, which makes me wonder, there's one or two roundabouts that have absolutely nothing in them.
Yes, there are, aren't there? The design is all in everyone's heads right now. So we have a roundabout committee. So we have, because we have so many roundabouts, and was it last year or 2 years ago that we said, you know what, we need some help with this. We need some community input. So we started a new committee. It's called the Roundabout Committee. And so we brought people in who are helping design those, and we've been going through those one by one. But there's a couple that are slated. At the State of the City the other day, we said we have 9 roundabouts with 6 more slated to get designed. Either new roundabout, like net new roundabouts, or like the ones like at Wells Drive or at 35th. And there's a couple of others that need to be designed. So. Yeah, so that's happening right now, and if you have ideas, reach out to your roundabout committee. It's on the website because they're looking for ways to make those all unique. Okay, last question is our last one.
I'm just throwing this out there as a viable option, but a Ridgefield trolley?
Oh yeah, we've talked about that too. So I don't know if you follow the news. We don't have time to get into this one, but C-Tran. There's been a lot of talk about C-Tran and the funding and stuff like that. And so one thing that we've kind of kicked around too is like, hey, we need a trolley, and like a rubber tire trolley, and so that's something that's kind of on our minds too, and we're looking towards probably a little more distant, but definitely I'm with you on that. It'd be really cool. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. You've been great. Thank you to Ethan and Jesse. Yes, you guys are all great. So thanks so much. Yes.
Thank you so much. And I think, just as you're talking and, this relationship between the city and Main Street and the people dedicated to downtown and Main Street and the city and the Art Association and all the other groups, I think what we can start to work on in connection with all of this is that vision statement. Yeah. And I think, everybody involved in what that is, the shared vision is really going to be how it gets done. And it's getting done every day, because everybody here loves downtown. And so thank you for being here for this. The next meeting of the evening community meeting will be June 18th. And we have information up here, sponsorship information, tax credit information, newsletters. We'll see a new map next month. And again, thank you for being here. And thanks for all of our guests. Thank you so much.